Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Tanner here, and welcome to a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Season 15, Episode 11, entitled Papergirl. This is the 11th episode of Season 15, like I just said, and this video will continue our series of Season 15 episode reviews. As such, this video will contain spoilers for the episode at hand. If you have not yet seen this episode, I recommend clicking off the video, watching the episode online, and then coming back and checking out this review. It'll still be here by the time you get back, and let's go ahead and get into it. So in terms of this episode, I do have a quick plot synopsis, and that indeed goes as follows. Antonia and Nelson help out by fighting against the Kalmar invasion. That's basically a good way to summarize this episode, I imagine. The episode primarily focuses on Antonia and Nelson, so let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the good. First things first, I really need to touch on the action. This episode is very fast-paced, and it never really slows down. Before I watched this episode, I heard a couple people say that this episode is very filler-y. I would disagree. I think this episode is really cool, really well done, and once again, like I said, very action-packed. I was genuinely surprised how fast this episode moves. I found myself being quite impressed with the pace of this episode. You're never really bored watching this, which I thought was very interesting, and not like an episode such as this one. It seems like other episodes in past Ninjago seasons like this kind of felt, a little filler-esque, a little boring. This episode is not like that at all. It's very fast-paced, never really slows down. I also really enjoy the Antonia and Nelson team-up. Antonia is pretty much at her best here. I was kind of mixed on her character when we last saw her in earlier Ninjago episodes and earlier seasons, but here I really like her character. She's really charismatic, she's really outgoing, she knows what she wants to do, and she's not going to stop until she gets there. And also we have Nelson in this episode too. Nelson's okay. I mean, Nelson's Nelson. Doesn't really seem all that different from how we saw him earlier, but Antonia, she got a really big character boost, at least in my opinion, so I'm happy to see that. In terms of Nelson's involvement with this episode, I thought it was decent, but like I said, it's not like he goes anywhere or learns anything at the end. At least that's how I basically see it. Also, some of the fights are very cool. I especially love the Ninja versus Kalmar, especially Kai versus Kalmar specifically. Now, Kai and Kalmar have a lot of extended interactions throughout this episode, and I think that's really cool because, again, earlier in the season you've had Nia fighting Kalmar, and now we get Kai fighting Kalmar. Kind of have that sibling dynamic going on there, fighting the same bad guy. I think that's very, very cool. And of course, Kalmar's expressions are still very much on point. I love everything that Kalmar does. He's very expressive as a character, very emotional as well in terms of his facial performance, and I have no doubts that that's just because of his character design, but this episode delivers some top-tier Kalmar expressions, so really big props to the episode for making that happen. This episode also has a lot of references and a lot of Easter eggs towards previous Ninjago seasons and episodes, which I thought was fun. You get a shot of Unagami just chilling in the background at one point in time. There's a lot of other nods and references to other past Ninjago seasons, Kalmar references, the Oni, the Vermilion, so I think that's really cool. It's nice to see Kalmar actually acknowledge those past villains, and it's nice to see the show actually acknowledge its past storylines. I thought that was really well done. In terms of the bad, I have to say that this episode does seem a little out of place, and I would have rather had the focus be on Kai and Cole for the entire episode rather than Antonia and Nelson. I think it's cool that Antonia and Nelson are indeed getting more spotlight and more time to actually express themselves in Ninjago, but I couldn't help but think that Kai and Cole needed that attention a little bit more than Antonia and Nelson did. Kai and Cole haven't really been around for a lot of the season, and they have had a couple of spotlight appearances so far. This episode in particular does indeed deliver on Kai's attention for sure, but I kind of felt like maybe the episode would have been a little better if Antonia and Nelson's role would have been dialed back a little bit. But regardless, this episode is still a very good one at that. Not a perfect episode, but still very good. I think in terms of a score, a 9 out of 10 is a pretty fair score. I enjoyed this episode a lot more than I thought I would, but ultimately it does have some issues that I've touched on, but I still think it's a very good episode, all things considered. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here today. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about this episode, and of course feel free to leave a comment talking about what you thought about the video as well. Thank you so much for checking out this one. I will be releasing my episode 12 review later on during the day, so be sure to stick around for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching this one. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and check out the links down below in the description from other forms of social media. As always, big shout out goes out to my Patreon supporters, including once again the marvelous Jan. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Once again, my name is TannerFishies, and with that I bid you farewell.